Hello, welcome back to the bottom. My name is Beast, and today we're back with Hello Lady. I'm just gonna say it right out the gate. It is entirely possible that today is gonna be a short one. Mainly because I've just been playing a lot of Devil Survivor, and I just really want to continue. Actually, I wanted to make a fucking poll before I started this. I'm an idiot. I wanted to make a poll for the next game. Squirrel got a gun? The fuck? Hey. Oh, YouTube's trying to recommend to me the fucking second Osama ranking opening again. No, I can't listen to this again! I have shit to do! Hope you can forgive, not apologize, forgive. Hope you can forgive me for just making this fucking poll real quick. Saku-Route. Hello, lady. It's probably best if I already make this poll. As for why Kami Yaba is in it now. Well, in the only game I allow myself at this point. So the end, it seemed fun. So that's why. And as many options as you can make in fucking YouTube, because YouTube is a big doo-doo head. Let's get rid of Hoshizuru no Memoria first, I guess. Let's make it Market Galaxy Dragon, Happy Mayor, Witch's Love Story, Nominated Reincarnation, and Kamiyaba. Kamiyaba. Happy Mayor. Witch's Love Diary. Nana Yuro. Reincarnation. Lastly, and the Galaxy Dragon. Ah! Sorry about that. Yeah, what's the full title again for Kamiyaba? Like Destiny on a Dicey Deadline? I think it was. Yep, Destiny on a Dicey Deadline. So let's add that. Destiny on a Dicey Deadline. There we go. And post. Did I have to do this right now? Honestly, no. I probably could have done it after the fucking recording now that I think about it. God, I'm off today. Oh well. Let's just do this. After lights out, we snuck out of the dorm. To avoid getting caught on camera, we left after gathering in my room.
誰にも気づかれなかったかね。
大丈夫よ。みんな寝てるわ。それでどうするの？
直接乗り込むつもりだ。これまではプラントへ近づかなかった。警備が相当に厳重だったのでね。 何が待ち受けているのかわからない。
今更ね、そんなの。当然できてるわ。
いいだろう。では。
Saku was no pro, but she'd gone through base training. From what I could tell, she'd taken her tennis club very seriously. Her movements were a lot faster than I'd imagined. I led her into the garden and the forest. There was a distinct route between the research building and the plant. The security there was even tighter, so we avoided it.
森は警戒が薄い。この中を突破するルートを使う。
わかったわ。
Saku sounded out of breath, but she was still keeping up with me. I held back for her sake, but that was impressive nonetheless. There's a massive fucking hole in this pair of socks. I didn't notice it till now. But it's like thankfully like right above the small toe, so it doesn't fucking matter. When it's like at the heel, I hate it. Like the second the hole is located in a place where a lot of my bare foot touches the ground, it just feels off. I'd prefer to just walk around without socks. But it's right above the little toe, so don't really feel anything. Once we reached deep enough to not even see outside the forest, I stopped.
どうかしたの？
方向感覚が狂った。
Perhaps it was normal for others, but Shinji Narita had a sense of direction that rivaled migratory birds. The fact that I'd lost my sense of direction was proof of how unnatural the place was.
手薄なのには理由があると思ったが、なるほど。初手からこれでは、先々オーガやドラゴンも現れかねないな。ここからが本番だ。よく見てついてきたまえ。遅れるようなら遠慮なく置いていく。
Saku, who appeared obviously tense, gave me a nod.
望むところよ。
Suddenly, a metal arrow-like object flew by. The aim was both precise and peerless. Based on the small size, it wasn't actually an arrow, but a crossbow bolt. Like bullets, bolts were near silent. With the veil of darkness hiding them, evading them was no small feat. In that environment, they were actually better than guns. When we stepped deeper into the forest, a relentless ambush awaited us. The opponent jumped from shadow to shadow like a nocturnal animal. We didn't know who was attacking us. Merely sensing their presence was a challenge, and I failed to spot them no matter how hard I tried.
何なのよ一体！
木の陰から出るな！頭を下げていたまえ！
The sniper moved around with clearly an inhuman ease, unrelenting and without hesitation. A single wrong move meant a hole in my heart.
いきなり撃ってきた。
As I'd expected, the ambush had shocked her. The thought that the Academy security would attack without warning had never crossed her mind. It wasn't like the hostility expressed by the accident from the prior night. It was a clear murderous intent, an unshakable will to eliminate the enemy. It was actually something... I was actually somewhat impressed that Saku had retained her sanity.
容易ではない相手だ。このままでは手詰まりか。
私がやるわ。
Saku tried to stand up, looking extremely determined. My eyes widened in response. She clearly planned to use her halo. Saku Tanashi's halo was King Lair 3, a true miracle. Its power was both respected and feared by each and every one of the 200 HMIs who studied within the Academy walls.
これをグラフで見たのが君の力なら、あの敵には通じない。
The opponent was not only faster and stronger than normal humans, they also had a combat experience. An amateur like Saku stood no chance even if she powered up. Though she was the strongest HMI at the Academy. The power of the insignia have truly been something so simple.
できるなら成田は下がっていて。
Saku pulled a metal case out of her pocket. And the time she wasted on that proved fatal. Sakura screamed, then almost collapsed. I threw her body over my shoulder and jumped, but my movement still failed to keep up with the progression of the situation. The enemy suddenly appeared above me. The shadow between the trees threw a dangerous-looking knife. It drew an arc, cut into Saku, then flew away. In order to avoid a second attack, I embraced Sakura and ran, using the trees as my shield. Even if the opponent had night vision goggles, we were in a dense forest, so they had trouble tracking us. So I thought. Shapeless enemy remained above us every single step of the way.
サク。
よくわからない。脇が熱くて。
大丈夫。かすめただけだ。深くはない。だがこの場は一度引こう。
でもそれは。
私の見積もりが甘かった。頭上の敵を破ってプラントに近づくには装備が足りない。後日改めて出直す。
May have upped their defense because of Shinzo and Katsuragi's death. Whatever the case, still no chance of breaking through the dense forest without sufficient equipment and plans. More
この
importantly,
場を無事に逃げ延びられるかが目下の問題だ。
ごめんなさい、成田。私が足引っ張って。
むしろ歓迎しよう。これでも私は不可能に近いほどその気になる性分でね。捕まっているように相当揺れることになる。
light steps on the twisting trees above sounded rhythmical. The beat resounded with the speed of a beast and the legs of a human dancing through the trees and approaching us. Even if we escaped, we were doomed if they had discovered our identities. I had to take the enemy off both quickly and covertly.
行く。
Feeling Sakura's weight in my hands, I gathered my strength and kicked off the ground.
I
couldn't sense the enemy presence. It seemed the forest's ability to ruin an individual's sense of direction had worked against them on that specific occasion.
まだ意識はあるかね。
ええ、大丈夫。
A silent, brief, weak response, but a response nonetheless. Her right side was bloody. The wound didn't look deep. But that didn't matter if it was poisoned.
辛いだろうが、もうしばらく捕まっていたまえ。
Said that they became one with the night's shadows and silently escaped the forest. Annoying. He returned to the room in my dorm to check and treat Saku's wounds. Placed Saku on the bed and prepared a first aid kit.
手当てをする。服を脱がせよう。
はい。
So that it happened without any shows of resistance. That was most unexpected. I assumed she didn't have the energy to complain. Swiftly removed her clothes. Naturally, I would have been mesmerized by her porcelain skin and shapely chest, but treating the wound was more important. And normally, I would have been mesmerized. It was unexpectedly light. I didn't spot any signs of poison. Saku's fortune gave me peace of mind.
傷口を縫う。悪いが麻酔はない。覚悟を決めたまえ。
待って。
Felt she needed time to calm down, but instead she used her trembling fingers to point below the bed.
ポケット。ケース貸して。
Followed her orders and looked through her clothes to find the very same metal case that had caused the injury in the
これかね。
forest. Moved it close enough to let her take it in hand without getting up. She reached for it and opened it. It was a different case than the one she had the prior night, but the contents appeared to be the same basic candy. It's probably like slightly different. Probably like a certain taste or something. She wished to have one while she was injured. Well, anyway, she tried to take it out during the battle. Sakura reached for one, then hesitated for a good while until finally.
やっぱりやめ。
She went flat on the bed once more. Her face paled and her expression turned grave.
成田、やって。
多少痛むぞ。
いい。
Blood loss wasn't the only reason for her pale face. However, she'd stopped shaking. Of course she had. Sakura Tanashi was the kind of woman who chose to bear pain and overcome.
辛ければこれを掴んでいるといい。綺麗なので噛み締めても大丈夫だ。
I gave her the round green plush toy and began the treatment. Sakura didn't yelp or scream once. Slight waning moon silently moved to the sky. I glimpsed outside the window. I was reading about. I couldn't tell how long we had left until dawn, but I hoped to rest until then. After the treatment, Saku went to sleep as though losing consciousness. She must have been
起き
exhausted.
たのか？
Breathing destabilized, and I felt her move under the sheets. I whispered that while sitting on the floor next to her. So responding, Saku opened her eyes and got
寝
up.
ていたまえ。傷もまだ痛むはずだ。
大丈夫。
Poured some water into the mug I was so fond of. It was strange to live in a country with infrastructure so good you could drink tap water.
焦らずゆっくり飲むといい。
ありがとう。落ち着いた。
I sat down on the bed and handed her the cup. She took it in both hands, just like before.
体はどうかね？
もう全然平気。痛みもないし。
Her furrowed eyebrows informed me that she was faking it, but the man decided to respect her will and keep
出
quiet.
血は少なかったが3針縫った。
わざわざ言わなくていいわ。かえって痛くなりそう。
相当疲労しているだろう。それを飲んだら朝まで休みたまえ。私はあちらのソファーを使っているので、何？心配は無用だとも。
She didn't respond. As I wondered why, I felt a weight on my back. Saku's head had leaned onto
ご
it.
めんなさい。私が失敗して。
あの警備を突破するには最初から準備が足りなかった。君のせいではないよ。
She clung to my uniform with both hands. I felt a shiver. To fear from the battle
ここは
returned.
安全だ。落ち着いて深呼吸したまえ。
Saku Tadashi had faced death twice over the course of 2 days. She could bear the pain of the wound, but the fear of being subjected to clear murderous intent proved to be an entirely different matter. A situation where it was either kill or be killed was obscenely rare in a peaceful country like Japan.
どうしてあんな。
それだけプラントが重要な施設ということだろう。相当のものが隠されていると見て間違いない。
What did they have locked up in there? We would know once we reached it.
まだ先の話だ。今夜は忘れて眠るといい。次に備えて休息することも大事な仕事だ。
Saku clung to me like a little girl. She must have felt quite uneasy.
ごめん。ごめん。体震えて。私だらしない。あんな偉そうに言ったのに。
Firmly grasped her shaking fingers. They seemed as fragile as glass.
ここで引き返すのも一つの選択だ。
Shinri Naito provided his entirely honest opinion. Moonlight fell through the window like drops of silver. The dim light on her side profile made my heart skip a beat. Oh, annoying. Sakura looked beautiful, said nothing, and merely gazed at her visage. She was truly a sight to behold. Her eyes full of the will to overcome fear and do what she thought was right, shone brighter than any gold. The fact that I tried to stymie her determination at that point surprised even myself. Why? I belatedly found the answers I questioned myself, and wanted her light to vanish, simply wish to protect it from any harm, so it wouldn't fade or disappear.
サク、君はよくやった。引き返しても誰も責めないだろう。当然、私も。
I knew her answer, yet I still asked.
嫌よ。
友情のためかね。それとも筆頭の責任感か。君は誰かを失う方が怖いと言ったが、この先はもっと過酷なものが待っているだろう。君には君の生きるべき世界があるはずだ。失われたものを嘆くより前を向いて進むのも一つの戦いではないかね。
Continued speaking, knowing full well it was futile. I tried to protect her like a flower in a greenhouse. After all, it was something I'd once had, a light that Shinri Narita had lost long ago. I had a nonsensical dream that by protecting Saku I'd find a way to bring those long-lost days back. It felt so pitiful that it made me want to burst into laughter. Saku's light was her core nature. I already knew exactly what to do to protect the shine.
ハローに目覚めるまで私 普通の女の子だった。
後天性の HMI だったと以前空子から聞いた。
私がスクールの前に通ってた学園でも同じような事件があった。
Pale face trembled no longer. She took a deep breath and spoke clearly, as if she had collected
それ
herself.
はミトリの件とかね。
友達が消えた。親友だった。家出だろうって言われてた。でもそんなのは信じられなかった。だって私に何も言わないで。
She squinted and looked at empty space, searching her memories as she talked about that past event. Decided to reveal the story of her wound. Her solemn voice made it clear that it was something that had taken root deep inside her.
私は一人で彼女を探した。いろいろなことがあってようやく真相をつかんだ。HMI の仕業だった。当時はスクールも今みたいじゃなくて警察だってまるで対応できていなかった。
その HMI は噂に聞くスライダーだったのかね。
S-type brain function disorder, or Slider syndrome, was an HMI-exclusive mental illness caused by the Halo. HMI experienced it, lost control of themselves, and Miss Tokino had explained that the Academy, or more specifically the Crowns, dealt with them by request of the authorities.
違うわ。そいつは正常な HMI だった。ハローを悪用する HMI はスライダーに限らない。そいつは人知れず目覚めていて通り魔みたいなやつで狙いをつけたものを殺して
That's how it all
死
started.
体も何もかも消して。私は事件を追ってそいつにたどり着いたけど。
You know what you wanted to say. Sakura almost died. The humans and HMIs weren't on the same level.
その時アセンションが起きた。
死の恐怖か怒りかがスイッチになったのだろう。そういうことは珍しくない。
The mind was refined by the flesh, while the flesh was influenced by the mind. They were both inseparable. Also, I pretend powerful mental shocks sometimes activated certain biological functions.
目覚めたばかりで私はうまく力を使えなかった。いえ、そうじゃなくて憎かったのかも。親友を殺した犯人をそれこそ殺してやりたかった。結局そいつは死ななかったけど、でも私が壊した。二度と正気に戻らなかった。
Kinky. I shouldn't be ruining the scene by saying shit like that.
仇は取った。それなのに気分は最悪だった。吐きそうだったわ。
Oh, I'd misunderstood. Sakura hadn't trembled because she'd faced murderous intent. She'd feared actually killing someone.
復讐とは虚しいものだよ。仇を打ち果たしても失われたものは何一つ戻ってこない。
Revenge was something humans sought despite knowing it was meaningless. That was fine by me. The reality that Kurofune Mikado still drew breath felt unbearable, and I couldn't forgive myself for letting him live. For such a simple reason, I planned to trample on everything
その
else.
後犯人が再起不能になったのが変な噂になって、おかげで私行き場がなくなっちゃって。
そしてこの学園へ来た。
この力は忌まわしかった。ここでそんな力にも意味があるかもしれないと思えるようになった。いえ、意味がなくても見出せるんじゃないかと信じられた。それはきっと私だけじゃない。たくさんの HMI にとっても同じ。この学園が発見し損ねた何も知らない HMI がどうなるか。
いや、だが簡単だ。おごるか蔑むか。
They were special, so they either believed they were better than others or were scorned for their irregularity. Those were two sides of the same coin. It was even simpler with hereditary HMIs. were abnormal from the very moment they drew their first breath. Took their abilities for granted and grew up not knowing they were abnormal until they compared themselves to others. HMIs were true preternatural powers, which made middle ground impossible. Staying human while having and hiding their power, it seemed nearly impossible.
悲しき弱さだよ。
それを弱さだと言えるあなたは強いのよ。世の中の大多数は弱いわ。私を含めて。でも、世の中は冷たくて強くなるのを待ってはくれない。だから必要なのよ。誰かが声を上げて、こっちへ来なさいと手を叩いてやらなくてはいけない。強くなるために必要な知恵と手段を教えてやらなければ。ここは私に大事なことを教えてくれた。たくさんの大切なものを与えてくれた。
悲痛を耐え前を向くことこそ真の戦いだ。過去から痛みから目をそらせないのは弱いからだよ。人を作るのは過去だが、人が生きるのは未来なのだから。
To forget the past and live in the future. The logic seemed hard for many to accept, but it was true nonetheless.
できればいいでしょうね。そうやって昨日と同じ明日を憂いなく過ごせれば、それが一番幸せだわ。
幸福の正体は無知だ。
If you looked away from all the contradictions and closed your eyes to your misfortune, the world would instantly become a paradise. Bliss like a cherry blossom tree that only bloomed above it, someone else's remains. Due to that fact, our insolence, which allowed us to forget that fact, granted us happiness. From the very beginning, the world was an unjust, cruel place.
無知にも覚悟がいるがね。いつか訪れるかもしれない破滅をいいダクダクと神の意志と受け止める覚悟がいる。だが無知は往々にして自分の不幸を誰かのせいにしてしまう。バカバカしいことに。それでも何者にも幸せになる権利はある。たとえ偽りの楽園でも受け取ったなら胸を張って謳歌しないでどうする。うつむきためらったところでそれこそ失われたものを無意に費やすことになるだけだ。
ここで引き返したら、ニトリを忘れて前に進んでしまったら、いつか私はそんな私を許せなくなる。
She spoke those words yet again, as though they were a promise. To her, death appeared preferable to a life at the expense of her principles.
引かないと。
君はこの学園を本当に愛しているのだね。
I feel like that's supposed to be a CG here. He gave her a kiss as light as a feather. I think I know which CG is here. Surprisingly, it didn't fucking matter that Sut posted that in Scott's Discord without putting a spoiler marker on it. Because I think that's the CG that's supposed to be here. And it didn't really have anything that needed to be censored. It was just him lying in bed next to Saku. It was just cute. There was nothing lewd about it. Barbarians, really. Came naturally. I didn't even think about it beforehand. Seemed confused but didn't resist.
君に敬意を表する。
こういう時は愛してるとか言うんじゃないの？
She bashfully looked down and her whole body flushed deep red.
許されないこともあるのだよ。
誰が許さないの？
自分が。私を成中する者が私以外にいるのかね。
Planned to enact my revenge no matter the cost. It only survived due to that single goal in mind. As she needed to walk to led to an entirely different destination in Saku-Route. I refused to forget the fact that I was her worst enemy, a person who wished to destroy the academy.
これ以上はきっと悔いになってしまうだろう。私にも君にも。
じゃあ どうしてキスなんてしたの？
そうしたいと思った。
Sakura kissed me. She hesitantly, briefly brought her lips close, then pushed them against mine with unexpected boldness. Her kiss was far deeper than mine. It filled my heart with a heat akin to a warm charcoal. In that moment I felt something I had supposedly abandoned. It was a fragment of a human emotion, a foolish sentiment unnecessary to an avenger. And yet... Sakura backed away. Her face had reddened considerably as she cast her eyes down.
私変態で頭おかしいやつなのに、こんなやつなのに成田のどこがいいのか自分でもよくわからないけど、成田のことが多分
It's probably a case of suspension bridge.
好きだと思う。
Her awkward confession that didn't quite fit the atmosphere resounded in me.
思うなのかね。
あ、その好き。
She conjured those words from the depths of her heart while drawing circles on the sheets with her
クラ
fingers.
ウンの筆頭がこんなにうぶな乙女だったとは知らなかった。
仕方ないでしょ。私前の学園はちゃんと卒業する前にスクールに来たし、恋愛とかそういうの全然。
It seemed rather reasonable, but it wasn't what I'd expected based on my first impression. The girl who always acted lively, jaunty, and didn't hesitate to interact with people, studied as she professed her feelings to me. The girl with numerous responsibilities on her shoulders, who had suffered immensely, actually seemed quite inexperienced when it came to things common to girls her age.
愛は世界中どこででも誰もが探している。惨劇の中でも戦場でも人は愛を求める。人よの夢のような愛、熱病のように焼けつく愛、炭火のような時間をかけて育む愛。
There were also those who dedicated love to things inhuman. Was love in such a high demand because there was salvation in it? Perhaps. But there was also love that drove people insane. For it was the twin brother of its sworn enemy, hatred.
そんなこと言われても、私友達って言えるのは空子たちだけだったし。
That seemed reasonable. I could imagine them talking about love all that often.
ふむじゃなくて、その返事告白したんだから、ちゃんと返事して。
ああ。
My answer was so obvious that I didn't even feel the need to say.
愛しているよ、サク。
I spoke without any pretense.
本当に？
愛しているよ。何度でも言おう。君を、君のあり方を、すべてを、他の誰よりも大事に思う。
なんだか変な気分。こういうの初めてだけど、ふわって足元をおぼつかなくて、どうしていいのかわからない感じ。
Probably partially because of blood loss.
本とかで読んだりするけど、本当にこういう気分あったんだ。
だから余計に悔いになってしまいそうだ。
To have echo in my whisper made her lose herself in thought.
二人で後悔しちゃダメなの？
悔いると分かりきっているのなら、やらない方がよくはないかね。
じゃあ後悔しないようにしたら。
意外に無理を言うのだね。
Made a troubled face and she smiled like a songbird.
前に人が生きていくには喜びが必要だって言ってたわよね。 私が今得てるのはきっと喜びよね。今ならなんとなくわかる。こんな気持ちに出会えるなら生きていく意味があるなって思えるから。成田は嘘は言ってないと思う。そうね。きっといつか私は後悔する。私後悔なら数えきれないくらいしてきたのよ。ううん、普段から後悔してばかりかも。自分を曲げて後悔するのは嫌だから後先考えずに飛び出すけど、後になってもっといい方法はなかったのかって。でもそれでもね、何もしないで後悔するよりは踏み出した後で悔やむ方が私は好きよ。今までずっとそうしてきた。この胸の痛みも私の一部だって思える。私あなたみたいに何でもありの天才キャラじゃないから、思いついて突き進んで後悔して反省して、そうやって前に進むしかないんだ。どんくさいけど。
悔いはあっても己の生き方を恥じないのだね。後悔のすべてが君を支えている。
成田はいろいろ考えてる。先のこととかずっと先のこととか。でも私は今感じてる自分の気持ちをなかったことにはしたくない。
You no longer had any need for words, both of us leaned in for our fourth kiss. Two scenes! I'd fallen asleep. Why two scenes? Probably both of these. Fallen asleep. In fact, I still hadn't fully awakened. My will remained separate from my body. How many years had it been since I slept so defenselessly? The path of vengeance was one fraught with chaos. It contained no semblance of peace. I crossed the abyss of death many times. My solemn oath has supported me on that wasted pilgrimage towards my enemy. I decided long ago that I wouldn't die without first dispersing the grudge of the betrayed.
成田
Why, yes, our dear lover, Square Square. You know, replace that second one with just nothingness, and then we would have square space. Bad jokes. Faint whisper granted me peace, the kind I'd felt while basking in the warm sunlight years ago. Faded consciousness didn't remember the name of the speaker. My faded consciousness didn't remember the name of the speaker, but they were right next to my ear.
2065事件
It said that with profound sadness in its
自
tone.
分でもよくわからない。でも覚えていて。
Oh no.
もしも私がその時は
The world was a cruel, unjust place. Every tragedy was eventually forgotten, and harsh reality claimed the lives of all who could speak of them. It was an area long forgotten by the ages. They lived while worshipping, obeying, and protecting their bloodline. They had foolishly yet earnestly fulfilled the roles they had given themselves long ago, continuing their tradition for generations. The place bound by various customs was especially hard on children, so they had to converse with our friends and escape to the mountains whenever we had the chance. We dreamed of the day we finally left, even though we'd never once expected it to arrive.
お兄様、 どこへ行かれるのですか？
Though still young, my little sister was a clever girl. She was as pretty as a pearl, and you could tell she would grow to be a beautiful lady.
来るなって言ったろ。
No need to be an asshole.
お兄様たちばかりお屋敷から出て遊ぶのはずるいわ。
She was a true treasure among the Mikado clan. Though she was a sickly girl who wasn't allowed to leave the mansion. It might have been why she'd first tried to follow me whenever I went out with my friend. Why she'd always tried to follow me whenever I went out with my friend.
待って、走るの早いよ。
A girl our age had chased us around. She'd been placed under the care of the Mikado clan.
私も連れて行ってください。
My sister had always been a stubborn little thing. And even when she wasn't, I'd wanted to fulfill her wishes. That particular case had appeared differently. If they'd caught us, it would have caused a great disturbance. Kaiser was understanding enough to let it slide, but if it was someone like my father, we risked getting scolded
ダメに
hard.
決まっているだろ。お前は体が弱いから外に出てはいけないといつもあれほど。
I'd created a pretense like the brother I was. As usual,
ほんの少しだけだよ。すぐに戻らないと本家様に叱られてしまうから。
お前はルリに甘すぎる。
普段は君の方がよほど甘いだろ。こんな時だけ兄さんぶらなくてもいいのに。
my friend always said more than necessary.
二人とも仲いいんだね。
The other girl had said that with a smile. Weeks had passed in the blink of an eye.
予想通りというか、予想以上ですね、ご主人様。帝黒船、つくづく油断のならないやつ。
手強い獲物ほど狩る価値があるというものだよ。
Snuck out of the academy and rendezvoused with Hishiya. Following Shinzan Katsuragi's death, the academy went on high alert. Most students wouldn't have noticed, but there were clearly more security personnel and the like.
夜店時のを先に狙うべきだったかもしれません。
今更だ。食い入るよりは次の手を考えよう。
Though it was rather evident that my mission had become harder. Acquiring Kurofune and Tokino's schedules had gotten harder, and the maids accompanied them at all times. The maids were clearly powerful fighters.
次の手と言いますが、何か心当たりはございますか？いえいえ、ご主人様が当てずっぽうで申しておられるとは。
今週末に夜会がある。今回は黒船の誕生パーティーを兼ねたものだ。
Oh, is he gonna go fucking ape shit again? Why the fuck should I celebrate his birthday?
まあびっくりで、マジ考えてた。
当然だとも。
I'm never merely wasted
対
time.
外的にも夜会を取りやめるわけにはいかないでしょうし、警備が集中しますね。その分プラントとやらは手薄になるでしょう。
He had the right idea. Kurofune had many enemies, so he couldn't afford to lose face since that revealed potential openings. The wall would happen, and we'd successfully secured a few of their plans for the week. However, that was also our last chance. Shininaita's identity remained hidden after the failed attempt to enter the plant, but it was only a matter of time. Every minute counted. Failed again, had no hope of another chance. Kurofune's death alone didn't signal the end of my revenge strategy. I also had to destroy his dreams. In order to do that, I had to uncover the Academy's dark secrets. If possible, I wished to face Kurofune after having eliminated Tokino and Yomise before the ball. All signs pointed to that happening. There were some factors that were obstacles, but I had ways to deal with them. We discussed a plan, focusing on the necessary points, and formed a schedule.
では、私は学園に戻る。
今夜は随分とお急ぎですね。
期日までは私の正体を隠し通さねばならないのだから、あまり長く不在にしない方がいい。
なるほど。ごもっともです。ヒシアは最近ご主人様が 毎晩ラブラブエロエロしておられるバインバインな方に見つかるととても面倒だからかと思っておりました。とんだメガネ違いです。
My dearest mate nodded with a satisfied expression and casually uttered that terrifying statement.
サクのことを教えた記憶はないのだが、それは私の思い違いだろうか。
ご主人様の記憶は正しいのでは。多分。そうそう、おとなし様でした。ものすごくご主人様好みのレディ。主に。
何を言う。好みではないよ。
そう。
Proudly proclaimed the fact, yet she appeared surprised.
あれは神の父と呼ぶのだ。私は思考と出会った。
With great enthusiasm, I spoke to her about the true gravity of my venerable discovery, but she completely ignored
邪魔
me.
ですので、ご主人様はとっととお帰って、年頃でも縁側でもなさっていてください。
そうしよう。
少しも悪びれない。ご主人様は最悪でございます。その前に成田様、ご注文の品206号事件についてのレポートパート3です。
君は完璧なメイドだな。
I took the mobile device with the data and gave it a quick glance. I was confident in my ability to read fast and memorize. It had once helped me outwit a local secret organization at a lone castle in Romania. I never imagined I had the ability to memorize entire classified documents over the span of a single flash of lightning that lit up the room.
サクは私が眠っていると思っていたようだが。
Incident 206. Saku had whispered the name, which piqued my curiosity. The part 3 she had handed me was actually the final one on the matter.
ほほう。どういう状況で寝物語をされたのか、医師は個人的興味から問い詰めたいところです。
Incident 206 was a bizarre murder that occurred in Okushima several years ago. The culprit still hadn't been caught.
この報告書の内容が正しいとすると、206号事件は HMI による犯行の可能性が高い。
県警の資料ではあくまでも異常者の犯罪だと。
スクールもまだ気づいていないということか。
なるほど。確実な証拠がないと報告にあげないジャパニーズ縦割り行政の弊害というやつでしょうか。それと例のおとなし様がギロチン処刑されかかった場所で見つかった毛髪から分かったことも入っておりますのでご確認ください。
これの持ち主はやはりスクールの学生の誰かだと思うかね。
医者的には 99.9% ぐらいはそうではないかと。スクールの管理している DNA データが手に入れば。
この件はここまでで十分だ。相手の意図が本当に警告だったとすれば、遅かれ早かれまた姿を現すだろう。
警告でなかったら
むしろ喜ぼう。面倒が一つ減る。
ご主人様の超大雑把具合に医師やふーはーはーはー。
I continued reading the report. Fruits of Ishia's investigations seemed immense.
この死亡者リストは何だね。
206号事件と直接関係はありませんが、事件以降奥島周辺で若者の急死する事件がいくつもあります。
Didn't have solid reasoning for giving me the list, which felt odd. Ishia usually only operated on cold hard facts. It meant it was her gut instinct, which I inclined to trust.
現状では重要なピースが足りていないよう
だ。That was my own gut instinct. Something did feel off, but the data didn't help me pinpoint anything. Would have been better if I'd found some to tie all the deaths
ピ
together.
ースと言われますと、
例えば死んだ全員が HMI であるとか。
Among the dead, there were individuals who'd undergone an ascension at some point before dying. It didn't apply to all of them, but considering the rarity of HMIs, the amount of them on the list seemed suspicious. The likelihood of there being not one but several HMIs without a solid reason was minimal.
気にかかる点は多いが、今は目的に集中しなければなるまい。相手は黒船だ。 隙を作れば容赦なく疲れる。
今週が勝負どころなのですね、成田さん。
My 7-year play finally approached its end. When I returned to the dorm, I felt someone's presence in front of my room. Saku sat out there, waiting for me. Rosy passed lights out. How unlike the insignia to break the rules.
どこへ行ってたの？部屋にいないから心配したのに。
She folded her arms and asked me that question, looking quite upset.
野暮用があってね。次女のヒシアと会ってきた。
内緒。
うん。いやらしいことを考えたのだね。
誰もそんなこと考えてない。
Saku's intense, honest reaction made her a prime target for teasing.
変なごまかしはなしよ。まあ、あなたが何か企んでるのは分かってたことだから、今更だけど。
君には君の、私には私のなすべきことがある。共闘はしないが、行けるところまでは並んで進むとしよう。念のために確認しておくが、これまでの結果を彼女たちに知らせなくていいのかね。
Over the prior 2 weeks, I'd been preparing for the next act. However, at the same time, I'd helped Saku investigate the truth behind Mitori's death. However, we hadn't learned much. Saku hadn't been attacked once since the warning either. She seemed quite fond of the green plush toy. She held it in her hands every time she visited my room. At the moment, she kneeled on the bed with the toy on her knees. She usually acted quite fussy about etiquette, but I recently learned that when relaxing, she didn't seem to care much. I'd seen her sit with her legs crossed many times. Her posture stayed strangely good even then, however, which seemed fitting.
みんなに教えるつもりはないわ。
Don't remind me of my posture like this, motherfucker. By them, she obviously meant the
巻
grounds.
き込みたくないのよ、こんなことに。学園の闇、深すぎる闇。この先にはきっとさらにろくでもないものがある。
だからこそ真実を教えてやるべきではないのかね。彼女たちにとっても深く関わるものなのだから。
真実って何かな？
Saku embraced the toy tight. She looked outside, the academy veiled in darkness, with hesitant eyes.
それは哲学的な見地でかね。
うまく言えないんだけど、ミトリのことや他のいろいろな暗いものが学園の真実だとして、それが真実なら他のは？
情報は幾層にも重ねられていく。サク、君は学生であり女性でありエトワールだ。
そのどれか一つだと嘘になる？それは並列し得ないもの？一つの嘘が混じってるとそれ以外のものは消えてしまうって成田はそう思う？
That's where the whole oh, they're all fakes came from.
それらは全て別の真実だというわけか。ダイスのそれぞれの面には別の数字が書かれているように。
ここには嘘があったでしょ？だからって私たちが見てきた過ごしてきた時間を支えていたものは嘘じゃなかった。例えば明日この学園が滅んでしまうのだとしても私たちは続いている。一つの嘘に他の全てを消してしまう力なんてないわ。
I myself had told her something similar once. Even so, only a single truth mattered in Shinri Narita's mind. They were traitors. That fact overpowered all others.
サク、君は嘘を許せるか？
私はただ物事は0か1かなんて単純じゃないって言いたいだけよ。重なり合った無数の情報層。私たちがいるのはその中間。全部を見通せる人なんてどこにもいない。
Reality was a layer in and of itself, and it couldn't be false merely because it was the result of many joint layers. And if that was all and if all that was true, nothing could detract from the truths of Alien.
君は正しい。私が追うのは 私にとっての真実だ。それは別の角度から見れば別の情報になる。別の正しさを有している。
I don't know why my hair is being so fucking difficult. My fucking god.
だからあなたは自分のなすべきことをやめない？
Sakura was a wise individual. She inhabited a far more proper position than Shinri Narita. That truth alone satisfied me greatly.
全知は主の見業だ。人の身に全ての正しさを同時に満たすことはできない。コインの表と裏、両方が存在しても目に入るのは片方だけだ。
それが誰かにとっての真実でも、自分で納得できないなら、私はきっとそれを止めると思う。
Sakura had been waiting for those words. She had a good enough intuition to vaguely understand Shinri Narita's goals.
何者であろうと幸せになる権利がある。万人から慕われる聖者も、多くの罪を犯した抱きすべき悪人にも、等しく生きる権利は許されている。そして生きるとは幸を得ることだ。ならば誰であろうと己の正しさと真実を生きてもいいということだ。それが幸せということだと私は思う。この世界はその程度には優しいのだよ。
The humans who inhabit the planet were the petty ones. We were creatures who forgave our own sin, yet couldn't do the same for others.
おとなしさく、君の望むままにしたまえ。
I urged her forward, hoping that she would do that one day. One Sakura would walk the path she believed in, free of any restraint. Vengeance was a mental illness, an excessive human emotional dead end. No bright future awaited those who sought it. Perhaps once it all ended, Sakura's just hand would judge me, which seemed like a fitting end to a man fueled by hatred.
運命を選び取るのは意志の力だ。人は自分の人生を豊かにして構わないのだよ。
あ、ちょっと、ダメよ。誰か来るかも。
Embraced her as though it was natural.
っていうか、いきなり胸に顔を埋めるか普通。
そういうものなのだよ。
どうしてこいつはこんなにおっぱい好きかな。
It was a first for me. Shot someone who took their life. After being saved by a nameless man, I'd wandered the world for a long time. I had my life, but it was otherwise hollow. Again, in case no new CGs show up, I need the fucking thumbnail. I'd wanted the world. I'd already read that. The path was long. The promise of vengeance had supported my weak self. I'd been on the verge of death many times. Anger gathered in my fists and hatred filled my legs as my young body absorbed more and more. The time came, the moment everyone experienced at least once had arrived. Confidence in my strength, yet little did I know that I would be quickly defeated. There were countless aspects of me that had abandoned to get that far. Strong, the weak, the traitor, the usurper, the dominator, and the dependent. Still, I'd wished to save a certain girl due to a sense of justice I still had in my pure heart. Looking back on it, it was a mistake of an absurdly earnest greenhorn. In that area, there were only two outcomes for those born in destitution. Either died or became a tool. Girl had chosen the latter. I failed to understand what had happened. In the end, there was no justice in the world. I realized that simple fact. I learned of the world's true nature. The man selling the girl was on the ground. It was the first and last time I'd shot someone for my own sake before returning to Japan. My hands had trembled, which was probably natural considering I'd never shot someone before. The weight of life changed depending on where you were. There, it was light. It clung to the young girl's chest. Only then did I stop shaking.
もう赤ちゃんみたい。
In other words, it's Hishiya's fault. She has to fucking blame for his weird chest obsession. In a way, like I'm not gonna be like, oh yes, blame her and stuff like that. He probably like still went for the boobies on his own accord, instead of her like shoving them into him. I assume at least. But still, we now know who was the cause, at least. Let's not blame. Let's just say it's the origin. She complained, but caressed my head nonetheless.
知っているかね、サク。豊かな胸とは神秘だ。私は、豊満にある真の美を信仰している。
そんな恥ずかしいこと大真面目に宣言しないでよ。もしもエルたちに聞かれたら、私明日からどんな顔したらいいのかわからないでしょ。
隠し続ける仰せかね。姫事というくらいだ。隠すくらいでちょうどいい。
She launched a deadly uppercut, so I evaded it, albeit barely.
私の気のせいかもしれないが、今のを避け損ねたら顎が反壊していたのではないかね。
気のせいよ。ああ、もう私どうしてこんな男に惚れちゃったんだろう。何かの間違いだったらよかったのに。
愛とは気まぐれで自分にも抑えきれないものなのだ。
こいつに言われるとそれはそれでムカつく。
困ったものだね。
I kissed her lips.
本当に困ったものだけど仕方ないじゃない。成田のこと好きになっちゃったんだから。
H scene. Another kiss. Started simple, then grew more deep. But then grew more deep. Our lips and tongues mingled as though melting.
何か不安なことはないかね。
この先どうなるのか不安よ。
そうではないよ。
I hesitated for a second, but I decided to voice my thoughts.
その他にも悩み事があるのではと思っただけだ。
どうしてわかるの？
She asked, clearly amazed, but honestly, like I said, it was just a feeling.
サクは美しかったよ。初めて出会った時からあり方の何もかもが。だからずっと見ていた。
そんなこと言って。
Saku tried to argue, but became all smiles. Then she forced her head into my chest before continuing. Like, he just breaks his rib cage open, just head right in his fucking chest cavity. Like, oh, whoops, that was a bit too much.
おかしな話していい？
もちろん構わない。
Dirty fingers clung to the edge of my clothing. The girl who had always put up a brave front suddenly seemed dependent on my warmth.
夢見るんだ。怖い夢。本当に怖くて内容もちゃんと覚えてないし、でもまるで本物みたいにリアルで。
どんな夢なのだね。
怖い夢。
She confessed with an emotionless
誰
voice.
かを殺す夢。私は追いかけて、相手は逃げて、まるで狩り。最後はひねりつぶしたりしない。バレてしまうから事故に見せかける。そのために追って逃げ場を奪って、最後はみんな正気を失って道路に飛び出して。
They died. They were always people our age.
一人じゃない。何人も殺す。大した理由はない。私はそれを楽しんでる。恐怖に狂って絶望に泣き叫ぶ姿を見ているのが好き。だから繰り返す。
ただの悪夢だ。気にする必要はない。
そうよね。うん。夢だ。本当じゃないんだもん。もしもあんなことが壊れてしまう。
ただの夢を本当かどうか悩むのは肩こりのせいだろう。私がマッサージしよう。主に胸を。
胸関係ないだろ。成田と話してると悩んでるのがバカみたい。今夜もここにいていい？
いけない理由があると思うのかね。
成田は夢見ないの？
無論見るとも。ただ頻繁にということはない。
どんな夢？
Scoured through my memories, found some dreams of gruesome experiences I've been through, but they weren't something to mention at a moment like this. Therefore, I chose to speak of a dream that didn't seem any bit negative to me. Oh, that's
では
CG.
最近見たおそらくは正夢となるだろう夢について話すとしよう。
Oh, prophetic dreams! Fucking hit me with that! I'm an expert when it comes to those. I have a lot of cases where it's just like, just go through daily life and just suddenly I just stand there like, what the fuck? That was like a dream I had like a month ago. And it's always a case of I notice and remember exactly at the point where the dream cut off. Like, I don't never remember them right after waking up, but I always only, like, remember them exactly at the cutoff point of the dream. Only once did I remember, like, right in the middle. And just to spite that dream, I did something different.
「正夢？現実の延長か何かだったの？」
そう遠くない未来、これは現実となる。
どんな夢なんだろう。
街を行く私のもとへ豊満な乙女が次から次へとやってきたかと思えば、偉大なる成田様、ぜひ私の胸をお確かめくださいというのだ。
How the fuck? I meant to chuck it like at the wall and just like put it in the bag after the recording. I actually fucking hit the bag. And it went in. I was not expecting that.
は？
人々はついに私に確かめてもらうことこそ至高の名誉であると理解したのであろう。豊満への信仰を深めれば、このようなことが起きても何ら不思議ではない。むしろあるべき姿ではないだろうか。
つまり私がいても他の女性の胸を揉みたいと。
心配はいらない。その夢にはもちろんサクが登場している。
そういう問題じゃない。
ああ、そうか。神の父である君以上の豊満はいない。これなら問題ないだろう。
そうじゃない。
何がまずいのだろうか。
私がいるのに他の女の胸を揉むな。欲求が溜まってるなら私のを揉めばいいでしょ。
She made a face like she said something she shouldn't have. As though realizing the meaning behind her words, she grew visibly red.
つまりこういうことだろうか。サクの胸ならいつでも揉んでいいと。
いつでもはいいわけないでしょ。
ならばいつなら。
二人きりの時とか。
今も二人きりだ。今のサクの発言からは今こそ揉んでくれと言っているように聞こえる。
違う。
故に揉む。
I reached for her breasts.
待って。
Before I could touch them, however, Saku protested.
どうしたのかね。
なんかこのままただ揉まれるのも尺だと思って。
She wasn't completely against it, but it was clear that she was frustrated in some way. Neil was fairly confident that she would have tolerated me fondling her if I had made it natural. So the exchange we just had clearly killed my
だ
chances.
から好きって言ってくれたら
The words were bashful, and I had no trouble understanding her perspective. The terms she provided weren't even an obstacle for me. The conversation so far had put her outside the mood to be touched, expressing how I felt, put her back in it. I was basically saying I was allowed to touch her. Obviously, I had no trouble fulfilling her request.
愛しているよサク。
私も
Batter up. If I could finish, I put my hand on a divine breast.
もう少し空気読め。
We finally received the next day arrived. We finally received the necessary permissions. We went to visit Sorako. All the étoiles hadn't gathered up in one place in quite a while, so that day was a special exception. Though it mostly only worked because Saku had met up with Tamo a few days ago and told her to come no matter what.
時のさ先生ももうすぐ戻れるかもだって。
うん。待ってるから。一日でも早く帰ってらっしゃい。
Saku looked at us from atop her bed.
本当に早く帰りたいな。
やっぱクラウンは全員揃わないとな。
The word all made the temperature in the room drop. It's likely because that included one girl who could never join us again. However, no one pointed out. Instead,
身勝手ぼっちの単独行動ヤンキーがいますので、空子が帰ってきたら記念に焼き土下座させましょう。
どんな記念だよ。
あまり長居して迷惑になってはいけない。そろそろおいとましよう。
the others clearly wanted to talk some more, but we had to retreat from the room.
成田くん。
うん。
またね。
Reese's building was one of the most well-guarded places in the academy. Those involved proudly proclaimed that they could fend off an entire company of JSDF. Though it was a question whether such security was even required. You needed to pass several security gates, so as you went in and out, and if you ignored the info layer guidance, security approached within 30 seconds. We followed the guide icons, which led us to not to the exit, but to Tokino Yomisa's compartment in the research building. She'd been waiting for us, and after asking for our reports and impressions, she once again explained Sorako's condition.
過労です。
Miss Tokino sat in her chair with her slender legs crossed. When she spoke, made her appear completely unapproachable.
何事かあったのかね。
何がですか、成田真理。
いや、時の女子にしては珍しく落ち着きがないような気がしただけだよ。
I couldn't tell whether I'd hit the mark with that, but she felt silent, looking unaffected. Normally, Tokino Yomisa maintained a cool facade no matter what happened, but that day, she seemed on edge.
ところで、時野先生。空子の療養の理由は？
以前にも伝えましたが、桂木空子の両親に不幸がありました。
Miss Tokino made use of Saku's timely question to change the subject.
やっぱショックで。それにしちゃ長いけど。
Well, it's kind of shock from having your entire family murdered.
空子は誰かと違って繊細なので。 急な不幸が重なったのなら倒れても無理はないでしょう。自分、神経がワイヤーフック並みに頑丈なやつが裏山です。
俺がワイヤーフックならてめえはコンクリブロックだろうが。
玉緒の言った通りです。もう1ヶ月になります。随分長引いているんですね。
空子は貴重なエトワール、高グレードの HMI です。万一のことがないよう万全を期しているのです。おそらく来月には戻れるでしょう。
わかりました。
The explanation felt lacking, but Sakura didn't press the matter. Yumi-san was the expert among experts, so she trusted her.
それとちょっとした確認なのですが。
何でしょうか、時野先生。
研究棟に移る直前の空子に普段と様子の違うところはありませんでしたか？
それは先生の気になるようなことが何かあるということですか？
いいえ、単に担当医として状態を詳しく知っておきたいだけです。
特に心当たりは。
Sakura turned around and looked at the others to confirm. They didn't seem to have noticed anything.
わかりました。では退出を。それと特に成田くん、ガイドのない場所に移動すると保安員が出動しますので余計なところへ行かないよう。
I like how he's apparently already so infamous for just like exploring in his pastime that she just had to single him out.
承知しているとも。これまでの私が一度でも余計なことをしたかね？
成田は余計なことしかしてないんじゃ。
空子、あんま良くなさそうだったな。
Annoying, my god. We 12s walked together on our way back from the research building. Sakura, Tamao, Edo were side by side while I strode behind them. Behind me were Taigi and his maid, though she wasn't in 12. The maid accompanied Taigi everywhere, except in the dorm during lectures. She seemed to have become even more thorough with her task lately, as well.
ご両親死にやがったとか。自分、あのタル中年はどうでもいいのですが、空子は辛そうです。
親子だもの。
Saku squinted and looked at the research building, towards the room Sorako slept in. They were close friends, so of course she lamented the sudden tragedy that had befallen Sorako. Honest to God, Sorako probably looked at Narita and immediately knew, oh, okay, so that's what happened. Fuck. Yearly summer greenery felt dazzling, made the academy look truly lively, especially with all the students walking about. Every single soul in the world had their own unique story. As they said, one person's trash was another person's treasure. Seemingly worthless things were often a source of joy or bliss for others. Everyone walked through the stage of their own irreplaceable life on their own. What?
ところでわからないことがあるのだが、いいかね。
I'd aimed that question at Taigi.
改まって何かな。
空子の見舞いの許可が突然降りた理由がわからない。
どうして僕にそれを？
大義なら知っているかと思ったものでね。
Cold gusts of wind swept by the previously warm area. The Etoiles had been requesting permission for a while, but they hadn't received a reply once. Sudden unexpected visitation rights came completely out of left field.
体調が良くなったんじゃないのかな。もともと療養のための入院だ。面会で心理的影響が出るのを避けたのかもしれない。
Arguably, isolation like that would just cause more mental strain. Taigi provided a reasonable excuse while making a nonchalant face. Just me, or did he look tired?
本当にそれだけか？何の理由もないのか？
僕は専門家じゃない。詳しいところは時の先生でないとわからない。
成田、それに大義も。
Saku felt the strange air between us and joined in our conversation. That brought back the warmth of our everyday life.
ちんたらしてっと置いてくぞ。
Tamo walked dead. The rest of us followed after as if nothing had happened. I reminisced about the sky I'd gazed up at long ago. Soroko Katsuragi. That was the name of a childhood friend the man once known as Shunsui Mikado had. had 7 years ago. Planned to never reveal my identity to her, but the memories remained within me. I didn't regret enacting my revenge and firing the bullet into Shinzo and Katsuragi. Shinri Narita had long since decided to prioritize revenge above all else. Indeed, my hands had opened a hole in Sorako's heart. I did want her to find bliss in life, but at the same time I destroyed hers to sate my bloodlust. The man who'd always claimed that change wasn't something to be feared had returned with a heart full of anger, lamenting the fact that everything had changed. I had no way to make it up to her, nor did I wish to. I'd crafted that farce by myself. Thus I had no reason to make amends, since it didn't deserve to be forgiven. Shinri Narita planned to fulfill his oath, following his will until the very end.
Narita?
I finally regained my senses upon hearing the voice from the chair ahead. I traveled to the cafeteria to take a break, but apparently I'd gotten lost in thought. Saku, Tamo, and Eru had accompanied me. Tagi had some business to take care of, and had separated from us, taking his maid with him.
何回も呼んだのに返事もしないで。何か考え事でもしてたの？
She furrowed her eyebrows and tilted her head. She had an eye for minor changes in mindset, so she'd picked up on my state, even though I'd remained silent.
なるほど。君がインシグニアであるわけだな。
褒めても何も出ないわよ。
出すのは私だからね、主に。
My highly tasteful joke made her glance at me like I was vermin and tried to stomp on my foot. I neatly avoided the latter.
当たらなかったのが不満かね。
それよりも何？私にごまかさないで。
She said that, but honestly I had trouble putting my worries into words. Strange weight had entered my stomach.
それよりも何よりも、サクとデカチチハンター N が自分の記憶よりも妙に仲いい気がするのですが、ここはどこのパラレルワールドですか？
I mean, you can't expect me to...
そっちの方が超疑問です。
You can't expect me to see that title and not go for it. And this time, I'm gonna fucking note it down somewhere before I forget it! The question is where? Sure, put it in here. Big Tiddy Hunter N. There we go. I just put it in the YouTube search bar. Because what else am I supposed to do? Actually, I mean, oh, people have already commented on the... see what the fucking poll says thus far. Also, I'm sorry for disappointing people for not just immediately going for Nanaido. It's just that, Jesus Christ, Kamiyaba is winning. It's just like, Kamiyaba I read myself and decided it is interesting, so I bought it with my own money. That's why this time I put it on the fucking poll and voted again. That is entirely my own selfishness. Sorry about that, but hey, I'm an asshole like that. Sorry. Actually, Happy Mayor, The Witch's Love Diary, and Nanaida Reincarnation are like perfectly even right now. They all have like 13%. Maybe reloading changes that. Reloading changes nothing. It's still 60% Kamiyaba, 13% Happy Mayor, 30% Witch's Love Diary, 13% Naughty Reincarnation, and 2% Marco and the Galaxy Dragon. Marco and the Galaxy Dragon would actually be an easy one to get through, because that's like 2 parts, maybe 3 or 4 at max. It's like a 10-hour VN. I've got that baked in 10 fucking seconds. I don't know why I said... Ah, yeah, that's why I said baked, because this was on screen. It's just like, you know, like the long cat meme? Long cat meme, but it's the Hisuian Typhlosion. And Hisuian Typhlosion just looks absolutely baked at all times. Like, this man has ingested every single drug at once. Iru, who had sat next to Sakura as her knight, glared at her like a veteran detective trying to force an innocent man to confess to a crime.
そんなことないと思うけど、エルの気のせいよ。そうよ、絶対に。
Like always, Sakura revealed her rather lacking acting skills. The awkward manner in which she tried to play it off made not just Iru, but also Tamao squint.
真っ黒だな。
もしもの時は成田を埋めて自分は知らん顔。
安罪だっつの。成田なら別にいいけど。
Thus, the pleasant atmosphere helped Narita arrive at his answer. The academy appeared as rowdy as it had been during the last ball.
サク、先ほどの問いに答えよう。だが、聞けば悔いが残るかもしれないぞ。
知らないで後で悔いるより、自分の意志で決断するわ。
Was a truly noble soul. Part of her had charmed Shinji Narita more than anything else. Her strength helped me gather my resolve and speak.
別れ際に空子が私を見た。印象に覚えがある。姿を消す直前の兜山みとりに似ていた。
Everyone present found themselves at a loss for words. A man stood close to the group just outside the entrance of the cafeteria. He had a mobile device right next to his ear.
これはなんとも素敵なことになりそうじゃないか。
Oh, he's actually gonna be like a credible threat this time? Or is he just gonna be a lousy bit player that doesn't do anything again? I hope it's the latter. I just want him to like be set up as this like big bad at the beginning of the game, and then they literally do nothing with him because he's such a lame bastard that can't do anything the entire time. Knowing that no one was watching him, he grinned as though he couldn't contain his joy. Omens oftentimes became reality. You know what, I'm actually gonna end it here. I feel like if I were to continue at this point now, I wouldn't stop until I'm done with the route. That's not what I want to do. I want to play more Devil Survivor. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm having fun with the game. See it as me trying to give the people more time to vote on the poll, I guess. I'm being nice, right? Right? I'm being nice, aren't I? Help. Anyways, I hope guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye-bye. I don't know why I make these faces. Also, we still have not come to a conclusion what classes Narita would be. If he were to be a D&D character. Someone suggested a multi-class of, I think, Monk, Rogue, and Bard. But I'm 100% convinced that the only reason why they said Bard was because horny bards, and he does have quite a bit of charisma. But you don't need. You can be a charismatic motherfucker even if you have low charisma score. Also, but yeah, I do agree that it probably has to be Monk. Rogue makes also sense, I guess. I'm still not entirely sure. I still really just want Oath of Vengeance Paladin to be in there just for the flavor, because it's literally what he is! You know, imagine if like there was actually like a stealth paladin subclass that's all about wreaking vengeance upon your enemies. That would be so fucking sick. Just like forego heavy armor and just go full stealth smiting with the wrath of 1,000 fucking dead children because they murdered them and it's time to pay. Also, character idea. I'm probably gonna make at some point. Arakocra, an Arakocra that's so fucking stonking with with strength that he can't fly properly. It's just like an Arakocra barbarian, so fucking high in constitution and strength that in roleplay you just say like he's so fucking stonking massive that he literally can't fly anymore. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. And see you next time. Bye-bye. I'm sorry for the shart part? You know, probably it probably is better that I ended now. I'm already losing my ability to speak. Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry for the short part. See you next time. Bye-bye. What the fuck?